Let me know what I can find. It's all in time. Show me how to teach the mind, and let me know how I can reach the blind. Lord, give me a sign. Show me what I got to do to bring me much closer to you. Cause I'm willing to go through whatever you want me to. Just let me know what to do. Lord, give me a sign. Please show me something. I don't wanna talk to him, Lord, he's fronting. Weep about life is nothing but you. Either the one caught or the one hunting. Trapped in the mind, waiting on the Lord. Button with a word that cuts like a sword. A spoken word is stronger than the strongest man. Can reach the whole world out better than the strongest hand. Look to God in tribulation, he'll never let us down. Jesus.
The story goes he was sitting at a bar, goes up to André and just hauls off and sucker punches him. Wham!
To millions of wrestling fans around the world, he's known as André the Giant.
Let me tell you something about André the Giant.
The one and the only André the Giant.
He had a mean streak.
Say the Giant got upset when he was pinned by the Ultimate Warrior.
André the Giant didn't lose his temper often, but when he did, it was absolute carnage.
Wow, he hit him. I'm like, oh my God, he just irritated the hell out of André.
As I walked in, André just said, "You're fired," to all three of them.
In this video, we count down the top 5 times André snapped. Real life unscripted moments when the Giant lost his cool.
By the time the bell had sounded, André went and grabbed the camera cables, and you'll see in a second how that resulted.
And by the time we reach number 1, you'll hear all about one fateful night when André's rage
He put them both in the trunk,
landed him
shut the trunk,
in serious trouble.
Everybody called him the boss, right? And he was. And if he didn't like you, you just need to stay away from him.
André's gone berserk! André has gone berserk!
But before we get to that, let's start with number 5, and a warning no one dared to ignore.
No baby oil.
André's dislike for certain wrestlers was no secret in the locker room. He especially couldn't stand anyone he felt was disrespecting him or the business.
If he decided that he was not going to get picked up, or you were not going to throw a punch, or you weren't going to put a wrestling move on it, it didn't happen. He was stronger than all of us. He was bigger than all of us. He kept everybody in line. This is not a business of tough guys. If you're in this business, it's to entertain. And for those guys that thought they were tough guys in this business, André would straighten them out real quick.
Over the years, there were a few big names who drove the Giant crazy, but no feud was more infamous than André's real-life beef with the Macho Man Randy Savage.
He hated Randy Savage. The Macho Man hated him with a passion. Because whenever I would see Randy was wrestling André, I used to laugh. Randy was always worried on how André was going to beat him.
As the story goes, Randy Savage was known for greasing himself up before matches, a habit which André couldn't stand. According to Savage's brother, Lanny Poffo, André hated baby oil, but Randy wouldn't stop wearing it. He stubbornly said, "André's gimmick is being a giant, mine is baby oil."
Randy and André didn't get along at all. He may be a giant, but he's not giant all over, and I'd tell you about it. I said, oh, I don't want to hear it.
And Randy would wait till the very last minute, he'd be all taped up and he'd have baby oil all over him. Randy would come in, "Oh, excuse me, André, big brother, what do you think we're going to do out there in the ring tonight?" André would look up at him, playing cards, and go, "No baby oil, get out!"
And baby oil wasn't the only thing that pushed André's buttons. Some wrestlers have claimed that the Giant wasn't a fan of the way Randy behaved around Miss Elizabeth. Hulk Hogan recalls the scene vividly.
I watched the match, and André would just get in there, just beat the hell out of him, just pull his hair out. "This is for you, Elizabeth!" Whap! And he'd hit him. I'm like, oh my God, he just irritated the hell out of André. And André had enough of his mouth.
While the baby oil bust-up between André and Savage was intense, it pales in comparison to number 4 on our list. Because while Savage took his lumps and respected the hierarchy, André's next opponent was a whole different breed.
From Asbury Park, New Jersey, Bam Bam Bigelow!
Bam Bam Bigelow had a reputation for being difficult. He didn't care about pecking orders, he didn't care about politics, and he damn sure wasn't afraid of making enemies behind the curtain. So when the Beast from the East crossed paths with André, the locker room braced for impact. At 6'4" and nearly 400 pounds, Bam Bam was no joke. Upon joining WWF in 1987, he was quickly positioned for a massive push. As fate would have it, the push would come to an unceremonious end just 1 year later, when he made the mistake of getting on André's bad side. The showdown came during a match at Madison Square Garden. According to those who were there, André thought Bam Bam was a disruptive presence backstage and wanted to teach the newcomer a lesson. The bell rang, and from the start, fans could tell something was off.
I remember there was an André match. Of course, André the Giant was the biggest man you'll ever see. André got him in the ring up against the ropes, and André said something to him like, "Young boy, you know, you're a little green for us. Like, this is how it works. Like, you're gonna learn." And André really just stuck it to him.
He was pounding on him. I mean, hard. It was a bad night at the office for Bam Bam Bigelow. He'd gotten such a big push, but at a certain point, they did sour on him.
Bam Bam Bigelow paid the price here.
And it may have been ego-wise, the other guys not liking it.
After surviving the match, Bam Bam makes his way backstage. He storms into the locker room, packs his bag, and abruptly leaves the building. Within months, he'd be gone from the WWF. The Beast from the East would later admit that getting humbled by André was a blessing, and gave him a much-needed reality check at a time when his ego was running wild.
He was young, and these guys were big, and the older guys were like, you know what, you need to step in line. They were just letting him know he had to pay his dues. He was green, and you need to wait your turn, because it's not right now.
As we've seen, André's reputation in the ring was well known, but backstage, that's where his authority was undeniable. If the Giant felt someone had stepped out of line, the reaction was immediate. And there was one incident in particular that showed exactly how he handled things behind the scenes. An incident that would single-handedly change the path of 3 wrestlers' careers. In the mid-1980s, the WWF locker room was invaded by a trio of brash partiers, the Fabulous Freebirds. The Freebirds were legendary in the Texas territories, but in WWF, they quickly gained a reputation for unprofessional behaviour, missing events, showing up late, and just generally acting like A young Bret Hart remembers watching the pandemonium unfold.
I remember my first day in WWF back then. We landed at the airport, and when we were in LaGuardia, I remember they were all passed out around the gate, so they couldn't open the door of the plane. And I remember they missed the plane, and they showed up about an hour late into the show, and they came in giving some excuse about being late. I think clearly they'd been drinking and whatever else they'd been doing.
As the locker room leader, André the Giant had seen enough. According to reports, the boys strolled in like nothing was wrong, and so furious was André that he stood up and confronted them right there and then.
As soon as I walked in, André just said, "You're fired," to all 3 of them. He was tired of them coming late, and they were bullshit, and they were getting away with it, and he just said, "Enough, because you're fired."
Michael Hayes, never one to back down from a confrontation, got in André's face and insisted he didn't have the power to get him fired.
And I remember Michael Hayes cutting a promo on him, going, "You can't fire me, you're not in charge," and all this stuff. And André, I just remember André goes, "You'll see tomorrow. It's either you're gone or I'm gone."
And like clockwork, the trio were given their marching orders the very next day. In one stroke, André had used his backstage clout to cut loose one of the hottest up-and-coming tag teams.
They were all fire. And he was a professional. He didn't like guys that weren't.
Speaking of showdowns, our number 2 story might just be the wildest barroom brawl in wrestling history. Stick around for this one, because things are about to get wild. It's the late 1970s, and after a long day on the road, a rowdy bunch of wrestlers spill into a Florida bar. The air is thick with sweat, cigarette haze, and the sound of chairs scraping across the floor. In the corner of the room sits André the Giant, hunched over a card table, laughing with friends, and knocking back beers like they're water. The Giant loved his inner circle, but that hospitality didn't extend to everyone.
That man, André, if he could be alone if he wanted to, and he was. And if he didn't like you, you just need to stay away from him. I remember André sitting at the story goes, he was sitting at a bar, and then a guy by the name of Blackjack Mulligan. So Mulligan was, he was a big dude. He was like 6'8", three bills. And just a hair trigger, man. I mean, he would snap just like that. And then there was always the, I don't know what do you call it now, your street cred. Anyway, so Mulligan evidently goes up to André, and he had somebody with him. I don't remember who was with him.
When the 6'9" Texan showed up that evening, he didn't come alone.
There's him and Dick Murdoch, and they tried to screw André on his money. André said, "I'll see you in the bar." So they got together and they said, "Let's just go in there and whip that big son of a bitch's ass." They went in there and tried to jump André, and it didn't work out too well.
André's sitting at the bar drinking and just hauls off and sucker punches him. Wham! André ended up beating the both of them, like beating the crap out of them.
Herman Mulligan moving back in, again another shot by André. Oh, devastating shot.
And this is where the story splits into 2 legendary versions. According to Ric Flair, who was actually there that night, André dragged both men onto the beach, and with one man in each hand, he started dunking them under the waves. Mulligan and Murdoch thrashed in the surf. Eventually, the Giant let them go, soaked, shaken, and utterly humiliated. But Jake the Snake Roberts has a different version. According to him, André hurled both men through a window, stopped a passing taxi, and threw them in the trunk.
"Shut the trunk. Take the hospital."
Now no one's quite sure which version is true. To have sat back down, ordered another end at the bar. Mulligan would later break the 4th wall by bringing up the real-life fight during a televised promo with André and Mean Gene.
Blackjack, I believe the toll is...
That's exactly right. That's the reason I can hardly talk today. I get hit in the throat about every 4 punches from the big guy. I said, "André, let's go down to a place called a Rock Inn." And after I got busted over the head with about 4 quarts of Jack Daniels, I smashed him back. I've got the Giant so mad and so hot. And I'm going to tell you, I can't get hit in the nose or the eye anymore. I am the only sparring partner in the world that André the Giant's got. And, brother, I don't know how many more weeks I can take it.
4 wild incidents down, and now we've reached number 1. Sitting at the top of our list is a moment so chaotic that authorities had to step in. And this time, the consequences for André the Giant went far beyond the world of wrestling. August 1989, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. André, 43 years old and in failing health, is locking horns with the Ultimate Warrior in the main event of a WWF house show. Outside the ring, a TV cameraman is busy filming the crowd. Earlier in the day, the man had been given permission to film portions of the show for a local news report. As part of the arrangement, he was given strict orders not to film André's match. The match itself was a short one, with Warrior squashing the 8th Wonder in less than a minute. But the real drama unfolded after the bell had rung. The giant caught sight of the cameraman. What happened next is up for debate, but it's generally accepted that André mistakenly thought the man was filming him without permission, and that was enough to light the fuse. In front of 4,000 stunned fans, André grabbed the camera and tried tearing it out of the man's hands. The man, about 5'9" and 160, clung to his device for dear life, which only made the giant more angry, with André smashing the cameraman's camera and swatting him around like a fly. Arena security quickly intervened, hustling the man to safety and taking André backstage. Law enforcement officers quickly descended on the scene, and within seconds, reality set in. If André didn't play ball, they were in for a long night. One cop would later joke that their only real backup plan was to ask the Ultimate Warrior to come back out and pin him again. According to reports, when officers approached him backstage and told the giant he was under arrest, André growled that he wasn't going anywhere. The on-duty sergeant took a gentle approach. He stayed calm and talked to André man to man. He explained to the giant that he would have to come to the station. The arrest would be straightforward, and he'd be out in no time. To the relief of the boys in blue, the calm approach appeared to work, and after huffing and puffing, André finally agreed to go to the station. On one condition: he wouldn't agree to being handcuffed. Knowing full well that the standard-sized cuffs wouldn't fit Pickles, he held them up to André with a grin. "I'll only use these if you make me," he joked. The line made André laugh with the giant. Out in the parking lot, law enforcement faced a new challenge. André's tall frame wasn't built for standard-issue vehicles. He was eventually transported to the station in the passenger seat of a Ford Crown Victoria squad car. Even then, the giant's head pressed up against one side and his legs curled to the other. Down at the station, officers processed André's paperwork. The giant's fingerprints were so large they couldn't use regular card. By all accounts, the WWF star was polite and jovial during the detention, chatting to cops and even giving autographs. As the assistant chief would later put it, thank God he was cooperative in the arrest. A guy that big, he could cause some damage. And as it turns out, the eighth wonder of the world did cause damage. $300 worth to be exact, not to mention the strained spine and whiplash allegedly caused to the cameraman. And it's worth remembering, the cameraman was only 23, nervous, inexperienced, and just trying to keep his job. He just got caught up in the unfortunate commotion.
But there was a cameraman on hand shooting this, and he had agreed not to shoot any of the action in the ring. André thought he had, and by the time the bell had sounded, André went and grabbed the camera cables, and you'll see in a second how that resulted. Here it comes. After that, André put the cameraman in a headlock, and he went to the hospital with bruises, and thus André will have to face some assault charges at the end of the month.
A little crushing moment in sports, right? Well, the Angels...
Eventually, the case went to court, where André was found not guilty of assault, but guilty of criminal mischief for the damaged camera. The TV station and the arena reportedly filed civil claims, but with André's side counter-suing, the parties eventually settled out of court. The night in Iowa stands as the ultimate example of André the Giant snapping. It's a story where the mythical giant became all too human, losing control and facing real consequences. And the grainy mugshot of André the Giant gazing calmly at the camera is a reminder that even the biggest heroes have their breaking points. And there you have it, 5 incredible moments where the famously gentle giant snapped and showed the world what happened when his temper got pushed too far. And what becomes clear is that every so-called mean streak came from something crashing against André's principles. In life, André stood up for what mattered to him. And that's part of the Giant's legacy that survives above all else.
Yeah. In the name of Jesus. Doing what I use. Rain from the light to the dark. Devil show no shame. Talking right from the heart. Cause it's right from the start. You held me down and then
André the Giant is a legend. We've seen his face on TV, in the film The Princess Bride, on posters. He was a very large man and one of the most recognized faces around the world. There was a lot more to this man, though, than just his size. Here are a few facts about the legendary André the Giant that you might not know. André the Giant was a simple country boy, but his childhood was not carefree. It was hard to be so much bigger than everyone around him. Fortunately, despite being encased in a huge body, André managed to overcome obstacles in life and rose to glory and victory. André took something that would tear most people down, and it made him stronger. André was born May 19, 1946, to an immigrant family in the agrarian village Moulins in France. He was born André René Roussimoff, and at birth he weighed a whopping 11 pounds. Fortunately, despite being such a large baby, André was in perfect health when he was born and showed no signs of any medical problems. Growing up in the country, his family gave him the nickname Didi. André's family home was around 30 miles from Paris, but the big city was far from his mind. He loved living on a farm, and as a child he never could have imagined that he would be living an entirely different life as an adult. André's parents, Boris and Marianne Roussimoff, were both average in size. André inherited his height from his grandfather, who was Bulgarian. His grandfather was 7 feet 8 inches tall. That's even taller than André grew to be. André had a growth spurt in his teens, and his family realized he'd be the only family member to be so tall since André's siblings were all average size and showed no signs of gigantism. André was sure that he was going to be a farmer like his father, so he dropped out of school in the 8th grade. His family was upset by this because they knew education was important. Fortunately, Nobel Prize winner Samuel Beckett stepped in to help. Samuel just happened to be a friend of André's father, and he helped André understand that having an education was important, no matter what career you choose. Each day, the Nobel Prize winner would pick André and his siblings up for school and drive them in his flatbed pickup truck. In school, André excelled in mathematics. From an early age, André's size became a problem. His fingers were so big he couldn't dial the phone. He had to use a pencil. That was frustrating for the young man, but at least he found a way around it. André loved music, but he never could play an instrument. He tried to play the guitar and the piano, but again, his giant fingers made that impossible. After graduating from high school, André hoped to join the French army. You'd think that he'd be a great addition to the army because of his size. The enemy would likely be terrified of the giant soldier during hand-to-hand combat. Unfortunately, things did not work out for André the way that he had hoped. He wasn't able to join the French army because they didn't have uniforms large enough to fit him. Also, the military beds in the barracks were too small to fit André's massive body. Again, one of his dreams had failed. Due to his size, he couldn't become a musician or a soldier. This would have torn a lot of people down, but not André. He wasn't going to give up. He was sure he would find his niche in life. André's size may have limited his choices in life, but in sports, his size was a blessing. André was a great rugby player, and he was also pretty good at soccer. When André was at the gym, his friend told him that he knew that a member of the wrestling team was injured and needed to be temporarily replaced. The friend suggested that André could be a great substitute. Before that point, André never even thought about wrestling. He liked to try new things, though, so he decided to go for it. He had no idea at the time it would be one of the best decisions of his life. To be a wrestler, he had to move to Paris to get training that he needed to excel at the sport. At the time, André was working as a mover. He spent his days working and then spent his nights training to be a wrestler. He was really excelling, but something shocking happened when he returned home to visit his parents. He had changed so much, his parents didn't recognize him. By the time André was 20 years old, he had become an incredible wrestler. His decision to start training turned out to be more of an opportunity than he thought it would be. While wrestling in Paris, he met a promoter named Frank Valois. Frank was impressed by André's size and strength, and he offered to take André to Canada to help him become a professional wrestler. Frank was a great manager, and he was booking André for wrestling events all around the world. André made appearances in England, Germany, Japan, and Australia. Growing up on a farm, André never expected that he'd be traveling the world. Finally, André saw that his size was a blessing, not a curse. André's first wrestling name was Jean Fer. He was incredibly popular in Japan and had a huge fan following there. To please his fans in Japan, he visited the country, and despite his fame and fortune that his size brought him, he realized he was still too big to fit in a small world. While in Japan, his size was a big problem. Everything in the country was just too small. He couldn't fit properly in the beds. Even the bathrooms were too small for his giant size. His visit to Japan showed him that he couldn't escape the daily challenges that his size created. He knew that he was a giant, but he had no idea what was causing his giant size. André's colossal size was gaining him fans from all around the world. Because his grandfather was so tall, André just assumed that his giant size was genetic. While visiting Japan in 1970, André found out the real reason that he was so large. The doctors told him he was suffering from acromegaly. The doctors told him that he had a tumor in his brain which causes a massive increase in growth hormones, and that's what caused his giant size. And if that's not enough, the doctors told André that there was a good chance that he would not live past the age of 40. That news was distressing, but André wasn't going to let it define his life. He decided that even if he was destined to have a shorter life than most, he was going to do his best to achieve his goals of glory while he still had a chance. André didn't let his brain tumor get him down, and he continued to pursue his career in wrestling. His fan base was growing every day, and he was selling out stadiums all over the world. People were fascinated with his size. He never met an opponent he couldn't beat until 1971. André got into the ring with an Iraqi wrestler named Adnan Al-Qasi. This was the match that André ended up losing. People couldn't believe that André was beaten by a man who was so much smaller than him. Suddenly, people realized maybe this giant wasn't invincible. The fans were sure that it was humiliating for André, but they had no idea that somebody was watching who had a very different perspective about him. There was one man following André's career who was huge in the wrestling world – Vince McMahon. He was the owner of the biggest wrestling franchise in the world, the WWF, today known as the WWE. Vince McMahon had been watching André and offered to sponsor him. The only catch was that André had to allow Vince to rebrand him. The image that Vince wanted André to portray was that of a monstrous, hulking beast rather than an agile gymnast in the wrestling ring. Part of the rebranding would be to change André's name. Vince suggested that André change his name from Jean Fer to André the Giant. Thanks to Vince McMahon and his rebranding, André was now well known all over every continent. He grew his hair long and was finally happy about his humongous stature. He was an actual celebrity now, thanks to Vince McMahon. He was a worldwide sensation. From the time of André's debut and for the next 15 years, he went undefeated. For 15 years in the World Wrestling Federation, he was an undefeated champion. He was the Goliath of the wrestling world, and there was no David around to defeat him. He overwhelmed most of his opponents, and fans came out in droves to watch the giant wrestler. They were tuning in on TV every week to see if anybody could step in the ring and defeat André the Giant. Opponents came from all over to see if the myth of the man was real. They wanted to see in person if there was a man of such monumental proportions. It wasn't just André's size that made his fans root for him. It was also his charisma that made people love him. André the Giant was the whole package, and he was undefeated in the ring. With WWF Wrestling being broadcast on cable TV, the wrestlers of the organization were becoming more and more famous. One of the top wrestlers on the bill was Hulk Hogan. He was 6 feet 7 inches tall, and he was a wrestling machine. On screen, Hulk Hogan and André the Giant were bitter rivals, but off-screen, the men were best friends. Over the years, they wrestled one another, switching roles from time to time as heroes and villains. The men's on-screen animosity was soon to see its culmination in one of the biggest wrestling matches in history, WrestleMania. It was the biggest wrestling event of the year. It was a live, indoor stadium event, and it still takes place every year today. The two went head-to-head at WrestleMania 3. It took place in 1997 at the Pontiac Silverdome. In the stadium were 93,000 fans watching. There were also millions watching from home. During the event, André was portrayed as a bully who ripped apart Hulk Hogan's shirt. After being manhandled for a large part of the match, Hulk Hogan defeated André the Giant. He was the new champion, ending André's streak of 15 years. After the competition, André and Hulk went out to celebrate with a few beers. Given his size, it's said that André could consume more alcohol than most men. Hulk Hogan says he never saw André drink less than 24 beers in a single sitting. Other colleagues say that he never drank less than 100 beers in one drinking session, which sounds like a bit of an exaggeration, but the most amount of beer he ever was seen consuming is 156 beers. André was a legendary drinker as well as a wrestler.
André the Giant was a professional wrestler who was known for his large size and strength. He was 7 feet 4 inches tall and weighed over 500 pounds. There is a rumor that he never brushed his teeth. This rumor has been perpetuated by other wrestlers, including Hulk Hogan. It's worth noting that like many public figures, André's personal habits and quirks have been subject to speculation and storytelling, and it's often difficult to separate fact from fiction.